We start with an update on our breaking news story, that of the seizure by Ukraine of a Russian tanker earlier today. It's now being said that the crew have been released. Kiev said the boat had been detained near the Odessa region for allegedly blocking the Kerch Strait during an incident in November. Donald Corder is joining us here in the studio with more. Donald, bring us up to speed on the latest.
Well, Jackie, we received that information within the hour that Ukraine had released the tanker's 10 Russian crew members without any charges being filed. The human rights commissioners of both Ukraine and Russia were able to broker their return via Moldova, from which they'll be flying back to Moscow. Now, Ukraine's security services originally seized this civilian vessel, claiming it was part of an act of aggression orchestrated by Russia. And the Ukrainians alleged that it was blocking passage of other ships through the Kerch Strait, located between the Azov and Black Seas. The vessel's communications records were seized, and the crew was interviewed afterwards, according to Ukrainian authorities. Now, although Kiev released the crew, they are still seeking a court order to further detain the vessel.
Now, as you mentioned, this is all happening because Kiev claims that this boat was connected to that naval incident last year. Is there evidence of that?
Well, there's nothing concrete yet, but it's definitely a big coincidence that this happened right around the same time as talks were going on with regard to releasing those 24 Ukrainian sailors that were detained back in November. Just on Wednesday, Ukrainian media reported that an agreement had already been reached with Russia, only to flip-flop later in that day, refuting that claim. To give our viewers a bit of background, the arrested Ukrainian sailors were accused of violating Russia's maritime borders, and Moscow says that they repeatedly and consciously rejected orders to change course. But Ukraine denies that those ships ever violated Russia's territorial sovereignty, and the then Ukrainian President Petro Poroshenko said that that was also an act of aggression. So tensions really have not had a big opportunity to cool down over the past year, but perhaps this release of the crew members will be a first step.
We'll be following along closely. Donald Corder, thank you for bringing us the latest.